consumer alert for everyone to hear tonight. A scam that preys on older people getting worse. We're talking about the so-called grandparent scam.
Yeah, so for more on this, we want to get over to WCNC Charlotte and consumer investigative reporter Bill McGinty. So, Bill, you say that your parents actually got one of these calls.
Yeah, when my parents were alive, they got one of these calls when they were living down in Fort Mill. It was a few years ago, and like so many other people, my parents were absolutely convinced it was their grandson, my nephew, on the phone asking for thousands of dollars, telling them not to call my brother, who was his dad. It wasn't, but it was hard to tell them otherwise. They were absolutely convinced it was their grandson on the phone. And I've dealt with at least one other case, one recently just like that, and it's something you really need to be skeptical about should your phone ring with one of these calls.
Hello?
Spoofing a call is relatively easy. A scammer makes it look like somebody else is calling, maybe even a family member. And these days, kids are putting so much information about themselves out there on social media. Things like where they go to school, sports information, clubs they belong to, and who their friends are. It's just not all that hard to gather all that and then make a phony phone call. Scammers just phishing, trying to make you believe somebody you know is in trouble and needs money right now.
These scammers are creative and cruel. They will come up with things that would never occur to you and me.
North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein warns people about this scam a lot because sadly, he sees it works. And here's how.
Hey, Grandma, it's Joey. I'm in trouble. Don't tell Mom and Dad. I need $5,000 right now or else I'm going to be in prison. And what happens is somebody hears this and they're confused and they don't know what's going on. And before you know it, they're sending money to these criminals.
The U.S. Department of Justice has a national hotline to help fight elder fraud. You can call 1-833-FRAUD-11. Prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office here in North Carolina warn about this as well.
The grandparent scam really takes advantage of people that may not be able to hear so well.
That's definitely the case. And often one of the hallmarks of that scam will be the sense of urgency that comes from the caller on the other side, or the messages that you're getting, suggesting something has to be done right that second. That's not the case. That's almost never the case. That should be a very big red flag for people.
The FBI got 650 complaints during the pandemic, and families have lost a staggering $13 million to this scam. 3 tips. First, be skeptical. That's okay. Next, absolutely call other family members, even when you're told not to. And lastly, don't panic. Your loved one is likely fine, no matter what the scammer impersonating them on the phone is telling you. And above all else, do not pay anyone anything.
This scam really can take on different versions. They might call and say, I was in an accident and I've damaged someone else's car and I need to pay them here on the spot. This is why I need the money. Sometimes it's someone else calling saying, I'm in prison, I've been arrested and they're not going to let me out unless I pay this fine right now. It's all a total scam. But if they're telling you not to call other family members and they need the money right now, boy, I'll tell you what, that's the biggest red flag. This is worthy of an ongoing conversation with older family members, not just a quick mention here and there. Remember, they looked out for us. Now it's our job to look out for them. Guys?
That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
And it's just infuriating, too, when you hear about these types of scams.
And the sums of money can be huge.
Yeah.
We're talking $18,000, $20,000, $25,000 because they know when they get somebody who's older, they've usually got a bank account to help them, sustain retirement, and they're willing to give it over in an emergency. So really, really worth it to be very, very cautious and have these conversations.
All right, talk to your folks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
You bet.